So you might already know about pointers if you have worked with C or C++ especially. So pointers are basically a variable that contains the address of another variable. So what does that mean? So let's look at this example here. We have x, that is a variable in the memory. So here x is it has an address, that's the address in the memory, and 7 is the content of that address. So x is equal to 7, basically. Then we have a pointer x, that's also another variable. And on its own, if you are looking at this, so they're the same, right? Like this is another variable, that's the value of that variable, and it has an address on its own also. So same thing as a variable, but depends how you treat them. So if you say this is a pointer, then that means you're gonna treat this value as an address. So if you want to basically get the value of the variable that this one is pointing to, we can say that this one is pointing to x, because that address is basically here on the memory, and that's the x variable. Also, you can have that pointer in your register, as we've seen before in load word and save word. So here S0 has this value. It's a number at the end. So all of these are numbers, right? But depends how you treat them, or if you know that this is actually a pointer to something. So if you look at these two, both of them are actually pointing to this location on the memory, which is the number 7. So let's look at C and C++ and how pointers are used. So this is the syntax in C and C++. So you have like an integer or a character. So that's the type that you have. And you are having this star, and you have the name of your variable. So once you have this kind of syntax, if you have for C or not, doesn't matter. You can basically, I'm telling you how it works. Basically, this one is creating a pointer to an integer. This one is creating a pointer to a character. So in C and C++, we have types. In MIPS, when we have these registers, we don't have the type. We only have the sizes of them, and we should know and keep track. Are these like characters? Are these numbers? Or what do they represent, right? But here they're typed. So basically it says when you have the int, it's basically you're referencing basically an integer. Or here you have a character. So this is how you declare a pointer. So of course they have to be initialized, and the way you can initialize that, we have this ampersand. So this character is basically getting the address of some variable. So you see here, first we are defining this pointer or ptrx, and we are defining x. So this is, we're combining them, but basically int um, star ptrx and then int x. So we are creating two variables, and then here we are assigning the address of x to ptrx. So that symbol here is basically taking the address of this variable and storing that into this ptrx. So here we are seeing the dereferencing. So when you are dereferencing a pointer, means that you are getting the value of that. So for example, you have your pointer ptrx, you're defining it here, and you're putting your x as 5. So you have two variables. Here you are getting the address of x, and you're saving that address or assigning that address to the ptrx. So you're basically making that connection, right? You're getting that address of x. So now your pointer or your ptrx is pointing to x. So now when you use this, so this is another, I mean, it's the same asterisk or the same star that you will see here, but this is the second use case for it in C and C++, that it's basically dereferencing that variable. So that means that when you have this and you equal to 0, you are actually going to set x to 0. So you are getting that address, getting that variable, and dereferencing that. So that means now you are pointing to x, and when you set 0, you are setting x to 0. If you didn't have this star, you are setting the pointer to 0 itself. So you would lose that connection.